Well, hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, guys. So we have moved the boat again, as you can see. We apologize for last week. It rained really bad to where we really couldn't get out here and do any work on it, so we missed last week's video. So this week's video we're not going to be doing a whole lot of work in. I felt like I would address some questions to be raised and stuff like that about our project that's going on here, and kind of give y'all a little bit more insight into what we're doing, because a lot of our videos are just us getting after it and really just getting into things and stuff like that with not very much explanation, which I have took notice on. There are some people who's raised some questions, and we're going to try to address some of that. We're kind of in this intermediate stage with the boat right now with the project. We've got most of all the deconstruction and stuff that we need to take apart and stuff like that, to where we're in the position now to where we're going to start really seeing this thing get rebuilt. So we got the engine out. We're going to do a good little overhaul on the engine. We're going to paint it and make it clean. We're going to fix up the engine bay area and clean it up and make it nice, so that way, you know, when we do get this thing on the water, it's nice and clean area to work out of, work on the engine if we have to. Hopefully by the time we're done with this, we don't have to do that for a long time, but still would like that area to be clean. We've ripped out the kitchenette area, the galley area, and we're going to discuss a little bit about how we're going to redesign that and put it back in place, or if we're going to put it back in place and we don't just leave it out and keep the room, and how we're going to move forward with the boat. We're going to discuss a little bit of that today. Discuss our color schemes. We could use your guys' helps. We could use your guys' helps and some of your opinions on what kind of paints to be used, because it's been a question that's been highly raised over and over again on what kind of paints we should use and stuff like that. I do have an idea. I've done a good bit of research on what people say is a yay or nay on using paints for, you know, sailboats and stuff like that. So when we get to that point, if you guys don't mind, if you have any experience with painting sailboats or boats in general, which I do have a little bit, you know, I know how a gel coat works, stuff like that, but we're more looking for like the colors, and we want this to be pretty custom, which also adds kind of a harder spectrum, because you can just go on a lot of these companies that sell, you know, I think it's polyurethane paints or two-part polyurethane paints, two-part epoxy paints and all that stuff. And they're kind of general colors. There's not really one where you can get custom colors made, or not one that I found so far. So we're looking for that. So if you have any experience with dealing with custom colors on boats, and either one-part polyurethane paints or two-part epoxy paints or whatever it is, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So we're going to get into discussing the future of Project Foal Tide. So guys, as you've seen in the previous videos, we've took out the engine, we've cleaned this area up a little bit. It's going to get cleaned a lot more and repainted. We're going to fix up this freaking bird's nest of wiring, because I can't stand that. I'm a little OCD when it comes to things, so stuff like that really bothers me and your beloved cameraman, because it just drives us crazy. So we debated for a while and a couple different episodes on whether we wanted to destroy this and take it out or not. And final decision, if you got to ask yourself to do something 3 or more times, it's probably the best decision to just go ahead, bite the bullet and do it, which is what we did. So we took it out. So now we're kind of contemplating the idea of how we want to rebuild this. Do we want to rebuild it? Do we really need this kitchenette area, or could we turn it into bigger space, more storage, such things like that? All in all, really, for what we're planning to do with this boat and our personal thing. So with that, we got this boat to learn how to sail. Like, we don't know nothing about sailing. We've never put a sailboat on the water. We've never raised a sheet on a mast. Nothing of the sort. Some of my language in these episodes is mixed up kind of words, because I don't really know what I'm talking about. We're figuring all this out as we go. And there's a lot to that for us, because I'm still looking for a mast and a boom and the proper sheets, the proper sails that go along with all that, the rigging, and we're figuring all that stuff out as we go, as we get it along. I work on boats for a living, so I am very familiar with a lot of the ins and outs of boats, but not sailboats. So the sailboat world is completely new to all of us, which has been a really fun experience getting on this project and bringing you guys along with us. I know it's a little unorthodox sometimes, some of our videos, but like I said, at the end of the day, we don't know what we're doing. We're figuring it out as we go, which is that's a lot of what you see when you see a lot of these sailboat channels. Is a lot of people, they kind of bite into this and they just kind of figure it out as you go. We was blessed to be able to be gifted this sailboat for the most part. So with that, I was like, okay, well, is it time? Because I have this dream to make this dream a lot bigger. My dream, honestly, at the end of all of this and many years to come, I would really like to have a 35 plus foot catamaran to go sail around and adventure on. And if it all worked out and it's big enough, possibly live aboard and move on to and travel the world. That would be the dream. But that dream always has to start somewhere, and that starting somewhere is probably learning how to sail and learning the ins and outs of a sailboat, which is what we're doing here with this project. And I'd like to mention a big thanks to all of you who have subscribed. That's made this kind of a lot more fun for us to continue on. We're at 390 subscribers. We need 10 more to 400, and we're really looking forward to that. I would like to do some kind of celebration video with that when it gets there, and we will. Hopefully we make it there by next weekend. So right now we're at the point where we're kind of intermediate. We've took out all the stuff. We've done all the hard work. We're remodeling everything, as you can see down here in the seats. We took all this stuff out where it was all rotten and everything else. So we got a few more little places up here that we've got to address or whatever. So what we're probably more likely to do is cut that off at the end and reboard this and turn this into like a cabinet area so we have more storage, because on this boat, that's what we're lacking, is a lot of storage. What you need, we don't need a lot, because the most we might ever be on this boat is maybe 3 days at a time. If we even get that good or that far with it. Really, mostly we're just trying to fix this up to be comfortable for me and your beloved cameraman and maybe another friend or two on here, just kind of, learning how to sail, having fun with, taking from here, because we live in South Alabama, so taking from like the Mobile Bay, maybe down to Panama or go Panama, Florida, or go to somewhere like that. Go down to the tip of Florida. Maybe probably the biggest sail we'll do on this boat. Really looking forward to that. It's winter now. When we started this project, it was still warm and it was still nice and good weather outside, which is right now, it's actually a little bit more in the fall and the winter. So it's really nice weather still right now here. We don't really have big winters. We don't have snowstorms and all that, so we ain't got to worry about none of that stuff. But hopefully our plans right now, as it's looking, is by spring to the beginning of next summer, we'll be able to put this boat in the water and we'll be able to go on its maiden voyage and be able to start really learning. And yes, if you're wondering, are we just going to stick a mast and some sheets on here and go raise them and hope we don't sink the boat? That's exactly what we're going to do, because none of my friends, none of the people around me know how to sail, have ever sailed, or anything else. So it is going to be a ruthless adventure to try to figure all this out, because I'm that kind of guy that just kind of jumps head first into something he has know nothing about, and usually it works out okay in the end. So that's what we're going to continue doing. And so we got the engine out. We're gonna try to do a makeover. They had a can underneath it where it was leaking oil just to catch it, and I guess they was just sumping the oil out. We're not doing that. We're not gonna use it like that. We're gonna try to fix the oil leak on the engine. We're going to figure out how we want this to be, because we didn't really like the kitchenette the way it was, because it's not very useful the way it was. So we're going to try to kind of come up with a better design that fits more for our storage needs and our space needs. And that's what's going to be happening in the future videos. This video here is going to be kind of more of an intermediate thing, just kind of discussing, you know, where we started from to where we are now and where we're trying to go. So. Pause it. So, as we had before with the kitchenette, you've seen how it was done, and it wasn't bad. We're going to go back with some of the basic same design, but one of the things that we didn't like about it was they had a wall right here, so the cabinet space was just this. All that back there was just completely empty, unused space, which we're going to completely, we're not. One thing that I've experienced with watching a lot of other sailboat channels and sailing channels and boat channels alone is you don't want to leave wasted space. So all of this area was completely wasted and you couldn't get to it or access it at all. So we're going to do away with that. We're going to bring this wall out to here, and we're going to make this one cabinet, and we're discussing on what kind of cabinet doors or way to open this space up. And my cameraman, Adrian, come up with a really good idea to do one of those, what you call it?
Tambour
cabinet door, sliding door, whatever it is, which is where you put a bunch of slats on a heavy cloth, and you build 2 tracks for it so it'll slide and open in. Because then, if we can do that, then we don't have a cabinet door to deal with. So when you're opening it and you're trying to get stuff in and out of it, you don't have a door in your way. It goes completely away and disappears. So we're thinking about where that space is right there to level the bottom of the cabinet out right there, and bring the cabinet out to here, and being able to access all that space. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, that space is really deep, so if you open up from here, you got to go over everything else to get to the back. No, because one of the other things is the top of the cabinet here, we're thinking about making it a levered door that you can open up so you can actually reach into the back and get something without having to deal with so much at the front. So you have 2 ways to access this one whole space. This back here, this is getting moved because I don't like it at all being in my face, especially in our kitchen or whatever. So this wall is going to come out, and that is going to become another cabinet for space, to where most of the time that's probably going to be where majority of our you know, small preservatives, canned goods, whatever it is that we're going to need to go into that space itself there. Maybe some of our bigger stuff, if we have it, could go down here. With the sink, I really hate the idea of there just being a wall right here to come up to the sink and takes up, you know, that much more space. We want it to really keep the openness feel that it has right now. There is, you know, some mitigations that we can't really deal with because this wall has to be here to complete the engine bay. So this has to come out. If it were up to me and I could get away with it, I would just bring this wall straight here and make a small little kitchenette area and go that route, and then just use that space and that space up there, which would be plenty enough for us. But then you have the side of the engine just left open. So basically this wall is one of the only things that we can't adjust. It has to be there. So with the sink over here, this is the drain of the sink and the plumbing for the sink itself. So we're going to come up past to here, up just above this pipe, and we're going to belly this out. So it's going to come up, and then this is going to be a little shelf. We'll put like maybe some kind of little railing around or something like that. You can put your cups, bowls, whatever it is. And then come up, we're going to make a little piece here where the plumbing can come up and then come back out for the sink itself. So this will actually be bellied out. So it'll open up that much more space. Yeah, it's a little bit more work for not a whole lot of gain, but in the end of things, when you're going to be in a tight space like this with people, as much space as it can feel open is going to make a difference. So that's kind of our thoughts with rebuilding this. The engine bay is going to stay basically the same exactly as it was. As there's really not much more change. There's not much change to that. We are going to redo all that, as I said previously. I have thought and considered about, because I've come across a lot of videos where the engine bay is insulated for sound, and I am looking into that. I'm still doing some research on that to figure out if we can do that, how we can do that, what would be the best way to do that, and heat also, because the engine does create a lot of heat in itself, and it would probably heat that area up a good bit. So if we can keep that heat to the back of the boat, keep that heat away from us a little bit, which sometimes might be a good thing. But, you know, when it's hot out, the last thing you want to be doing is be surrounding yourself with engine heat. The bathroom, the restroom is pretty much going to stay like it is because, to be honest, there is no good way to make that better. We've talked about it. We've talked about ripping it out. We've talked about taking it out. But me personally, I want the head on the boat. And cameraman agrees with that because we're not doing number 2 off the back of the boat. We're gonna keep it. It would open up a whole lot of space in this boat, which is a high consideration. And yes, well, some of you are like, oh, we'll take the wall out and just put a ring up with a curtain. And it's like, do you really want to sit here while your buddy's doing his business right next to you behind a curtain? No. Okay, so at least that gives you some personal space to do your business. So we're going to keep it. I know it takes up a lot of room, but it'll be okay. We'll deal with it. So that's kind of the plans for the inside. In the next weeks, we're going to start kind of next week. You can tune in. We're going to be cleaning all this stuff up and redoing the systems in the boat all throughout the boat to get it ready for its remodel and its rejuvenation. We're going to be cleaning all this up because that's nasty. So we're going to be cleaning the boat up and getting it ready and prepped to start doing all this renovation work and to really start getting to the point to where we're really looking to get this thing out on the water. We probably end up having to put it on the water for test trials. It's christening, as they call it, before we get the mast and the sails. Because I'm having such a hard time finding a reasonable price to get a mast and sails for this boat. My best option literally is to buy another sailboat for extremely cheap and take the mast and the boom and the sails off of it, which I'm trying to get out of, but I can't find any like sailboat junkyards or sailboat stuff, which I don't really think there's a lot of that because sailboats are, you know, if you take the mast off a sailboat, it's probably because it's bad, whatever. So I have looked into even getting a custom mast and boom made for this, which is right now out of our budget, to be honest. Like, I'm pretty much the head runner funding for this whole thing. We're not monetized, so we're not making no money off of this. We're doing this strictly for your entertainment and fun. So looking into the different options that we can come up with for me to get a mast and a boom and sails and rigging for this boat at some kind of budget, because I don't have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to throw into this boat. So we're going to go over here to the motor and we're going to talk about it a little bit and what we're going to do with that, and we'll see you over there. So this is our little thumper motor, is what I call it. It's a little 10 horsepower diesel engine. They're pretty well known in the older sailboats. So it runs, as you've seen in Thugga video. It's a 1GM10 horsepower. I believe it's 10 horsepower or 9 point something, but 10 horsepower diesel engine. It's got some work that needs to be done to it, but we're going to take all this apart. I got to get a new starter for it because the starter is a starter rebuild. Go, Piper, go. So it's got an oil pan gasket leak or a oil drain O-ring leak or whatever, but it was leaking a lot of oil. They had a oil jug cut the bottom out of it, just stuck under it because they didn't care about the leak or didn't want to take the motor out. But we're going to address that, obviously. That's why we took the motor out, because you can't deal with it otherwise. So we're going to get a new starter for it, possibly a new alternator, but we're going to break all this down in one of the coming up videos, and we're going to clean this up. We're going to make it pretty again. We're going to make it nice. We're going to paint it. We're going to do a slight overhaul on it. We're not going to go through the engine and all that, because I'm pretty sure the engine's actually good. There's nothing wrong with the internals of the motor or anything like that. So we're just going to fix it up, make it pretty, make it clean again, so that way when we put it back in the boat, you know, it's nice. And if we got to work on it or anything like that, we're not working on a rusted up hunk of metal. So everything in it works. It cranks. So it's actually a pretty good little motor. I don't know how many hours is on it. There's no real way of telling that. But here today, one of the things we're going to do in this episode is move it into the shop there and prepare it on a cradle, so that way we can take it apart and clean up everything and work on it. I just got a new a sandblaster that I put together not too long ago, and we'll show you that in just a second. That is going to help us clean all of this up. And yeah, so we're going to get it ready. This will probably be maybe the next episode or the episode after that. So if you have one of these motors, and he can show you this tag in just a second, it's a Yanmar 1GM10. They're pretty common. So if you have one of these motors and you want to see a video on someone going through it, you know, making all the things right, fixing it up, getting all these bolts lubed up and took off, hopefully without breaking anything, that's coming up in the next episodes. I know a lot of you guys out there who have ventured into buying a sailboat and a holder sailboat or whatever would probably be interested in having more information on this motor, which we'll have in an episode coming up. So stay tuned for that. Got the sandblaster to clean up a lot of the parts on that and do other stuff, as you've seen many times in our shop. As you can see behind you, I work on everything from boats to cars to, and the last episode you've seen four-wheelers in here. So we're going to build a little cradle right here in the middle of the shop, and this is where we're going to put the motor until we're done with it. I got to clean the shop up before I bust that motor down, because I like clean spaces when I go to do a project. So we're going to build a little cradle and set the motor right here, and it's probably not going to be the next episode, but the episode after that or so, we'll be getting into more details on the motor and what we're going to go through and what we're going to do with it. Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. Thank you for coming and joining us. If you have any questions about anything that we're doing with this project, there was a guy that commented talking about the finances into this project, and it's kind of just a play as you go. I just kind of built some money up, get this and that, what we need as we go along with this. We have considered maybe making like a Patreon or something like that, or a GoFundMe to help with this project, because it is a lot of money to invest into something like this. And you know, $1 here and there from anybody who cares to or enjoys watching this project with us, it goes a long way. You know, everything, and I make my own money, so I'm not, you know, reaching out to make a bunch of money off of this. Whatever money would be donated would be going to this project, but we haven't even set that up yet. And I'm not even sure if I will, because I don't really, you know, that's not really my thing. But we thought about it to maybe expedient the process of this project. It could help with, you know, rigging, because like right now there's not a whole lot that goes into the as far as finances on this boat. We got this boat from a friend of mine, actually the guy I work with, my boss. So I'm kind of working it off. I didn't really pay anything for the boat. I'm just working it off. But you know, so far we only have maybe $100 or $200 into buying the paint, the sanding, and stuff like that to get into this project. Overall, there will probably be, you know, I would like to say that I'd like to be able to finish this project for about under $4,000 is kind of like the budget limit that I'm really looking at, which is why I'm looking for kind of a deal on the mast and stuff like that, because those things are really expensive and can eat that budget up pretty quickly. So we've considered things like that. If you would think you'd be interested in helping with that, leave a comment below, and if we get enough people that maybe would, you know, support us in that way, we might make that an option. I don't know yet. Like I said, this channel is not monetized. I hate watching YouTube with all the as many ads that come up nowadays. I'd like you just to be able to come to our channel and watch our videos and enjoy them all the way through without any interruption. So that's what we want to keep. We don't want to really monetize this channel. So if we can find other ways to have financial help from the people who enjoy our content, why not? Not saying we're going to go that route, but maybe we will in the future. That really wraps it up for today's video. Would love any input on paint. If you guys know any good companies that have 2-part epoxies or 1-part polyurethane, I think it's called, paints that would be good for this project. We're looking for a blue. We'll show you in a minute at the end of the video. We're looking for a blue up here. I think it's called a Bora Bora blue, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bora Bora blue is what we're going to go with the paint scheme. Bora Bora blue and white. We're going to do some kind of unorthodox things on this boat because most people just stain teak and stain their railings and all that stuff. We're not doing that. The trimmings of the boat's going to be blue. The outside of the boat's going to be white. Same with the inside. Is going to follow that scheme. So like, for instance, this panel that my feet are on, it's going to be blue. It's not going to be, we're not going to stain it. We're not going to, that's what most people commonly do, is they sand all this stuff and they stain it and make it wood grain. And that looks really nice, but there's kind of a color scheme to my land and our little humble abode here. And we're gonna make the boat match with that. Eventually, most of the things you'll see around here will probably be that color blue. It's kind of something that me and my wife have just got stuck on, and that's kind of what we do. Our chicken coop's blue, her shed's blue, so it's kind of something that we've stuck with. I think that pretty much sums up everything for this episode. We really appreciate your viewership. If you're interested in following along with us at this point, there are plenty of videos previous to this project to get us to where we are today. So go watch those. We'd love you to come and join us and be a subscriber. We're trying to make it to 400 subscribers. We're only 10 away. So if 10 of you guys give us some love, we'd appreciate it. And we'll see you on the next video. And it's bloopers. All right, so when we're thinking about the interior, as you've seen previously, there was a sink right here in this area, which we're gonna remanufacture that sink. Yeah, this isn't gonna work.